Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. Today on episode 15 or so of trying this mic, we're now trying the hands-free version. Let's see if I rustle my shirt too much. Speaking of my shirt, tonight I have a book club meeting for Wicked, and so I try to do my best pink and green moment. I had these little butterfly clips in as well, but they didn't really go with the other vibes, so I took those out. But I am pink and green. Oh, see, I'm already touching it. I hope you didn't hear that. Today's video is going to be pretty short and sweet, unlike these books. And that's because I'm going to talk about some of the most, oh God, you definitely heard that. Some of the most intimidating books on my bookshelf. I guess we might as well start with the one that literally jumped on me. And that is The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. If you know anything about this book, you know that it is a true story about this young girl and the horrific depravity that she experienced from the other kids and adults in her neighborhood. I'm pretty sure she's held captive, and it's a horror. Very, very horrific from what I hear. It's not the longest, but I've mentioned a couple times I have not been in my horror era lately. So I sometimes forget I own this book, and then I see it on my shelves and I get a little spooked again. So I don't know. I'm really intrigued on what I'll think about it, because I wouldn't say I haven't heard that it glorifies things a little bit, but at the same time, I want to make that opinion myself, so I still do want to get to it. It's certainly something I'm not going to get rid of, but I'm not ready for it right now. I'll go ahead then and just jump into the next horror that's on this list, and that is Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. I'm nervous because The Perks of Being a Wallflower has been considered my favorite book of all time for many, many years. It did get surpassed by The Sword of Kagan. Love that book. But for a long time, The Perks of Being a Wallflower was my go-to. It's still something I highly recommend. And Stephen Chbosky, literally dropped Perks, disappeared from writing books, and then drops this love letter to Stephen King. And I bought this literally when it came out, like the day it came out. I was so excited, and I'm so afraid of not liking it that I have not read it. Even when I was in my horror moment, I was still too scared to pick this up because I don't want to not like something he writes, and I might not. I might love it because I don't hate Stephen King's books either. Like, I'm pretty into them, but I like when modern authors kind of take influence from him and get rid of the elements I don't like, and this could do that. But I didn't hear the best reviews when it came out, and I'm scared. I think this follows kind of like a changeling situation, like a young kid, I think maybe goes into the woods and then comes back different. Don't quote me on that because I don't know for sure. But how are you going to go from The Perks of Being a Wallflower to this horror manifest? How, I don't even know what to anticipate or how to feel. I'm going to use that though to transition into kind of dark fantasy. And with that, I have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I'm mostly nervous to read this because the hype has just disappeared. Personally, I feel like once this came out and people read it, it just was dead in the water pretty immediately. I really liked Leigh Bardugo's most popular series, the Shadow and Bone series. I have not read Six of Crows or Crooked Kingdom yet, but they're still on my TBR. I'll probably do them for some sort of competition in the future. I think Ninth House is dark academia, dark magic. I don't have any other words to describe it. I don't really like to know much about my books, and this is one that I, in particular, don't know much about. But I bought it because it was popular, and it's been sitting on my shelf ever since. I think I still could, I'm kind of not against it. I had this problem when I was reading Alexis Henderson's new book, An Academy for Liars, because I love her, but I hated that book. And part of it was I want dark academia to actually be saying something about academia instead of just being about the aesthetics. And I don't know which route this one goes, but I'm obsessed with the cover of her Hellbent. Love this cover for Ninth House. So I don't want to get rid of it. I still definitely want to give it a try. I think I could easily read the whole series, but I'm intimidated because I've kind of missed the hype train. This next one is, I feel like it's not a hot take to put it on an intimidating books list, but it's kind of a hot take that I haven't read it yet. And that is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is book 1 in the, I think this is the Broken Earth trilogy, right? Yeah, I bought a box set of all 3 one time, and I haven't gotten to a single one, and that was about 5 years ago. Thanks to my husband for sponsoring these bookish behaviors. I'm actually mostly nervous about getting to this one because I read The City We Became, and I hated it. Like, really, really, really disliked it. I do know that these are very different. Like, I'm not going to sit here and compare them the whole time, but because of that experience, I'm just kind of procrastinating picking this one up. Now, the elements I didn't like about that one more has to do with the fact that I'm not a New York girly. I've gone a couple times. I didn't really get it. Like, I didn't love the city as much as I thought I would. So reading a whole book that is like an homage to New York City just didn't really land for me. And this is more of a post-apocalyptic fantasy about like these huge climate disasters and one main character who I think can tell when these things are going to happen. I don't really know how to describe this one. I know it has a unique writing style. I think the entire thing is written in second person. I don't know if the entire trilogy is. Okay, now that I'm looking at it, it doesn't look like it's second person at all. So please tell me if I'm right or wrong. This next one is kind of like a classic fantasy that I bought this when I was 16 and I worked at a library. This was just one of those titles that they were like pulling from the collection. And then it's Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I entirely chose this because this was the 20th anniversary edition and I got it for like a quarter. Thank you. It even says like canceled on the top. So I grabbed this because I just, you put a pretty book in front of me at that age and I was going to bring it home. There was no ifs, ands, or buts, especially when I was on a budget. The cheaper it was, the more likely it was going to come home. And then once I brought it home, because I was a little, I wasn't really watching whatever channel this was on, like Showtime or whatever at the time. I then heard that it was like a really popular series and it was just such a stunning edition that I kept holding on to it. Now as an adult, I'm like more intrigued to pick it up. This, I believe, is a time travel fantasy romance, but I think it leans, I don't want to say it leans more fantasy, but I think the fantasy is a grand scale at the same time as the romance is a grand scale. Wow. Was that clear? This edition has definitely seen better days, but I own it. And hold on. This says it comes with a CD of the Outlander musical. It says the 20th edition includes a new essay, a new map, a CD of Outlander the musical, and more. Would somebody get me a CD player, please? Did anybody else know that there was an Outlander musical? Am I the only one finding this out like right now? I will watch it. The next 2 books are intimidating because I don't really love World War II historical fiction. I'm not a huge historical fiction person in general, but especially World War II, you just kind of lose my interest a little bit more. And I'd say that these 2 are kind of the epitome of what people recommend when you think of World War II fiction, with the exception of The Book Thief. I have read, loved that. I actually got to meet Marcus Zusak when I was younger. If I'm not too embarrassed, maybe I'll put a picture of that here. But I have read that book. These 2 are like adult recs though. And that is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr and The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I just haven't picked these up because they're not the biggest books in the world. Like, they don't feel like, I don't look at these books and wonder, what are we yapping about for that long? But I do look at them and say, oh, you're big and I'm afraid of you. I literally could not think of a single situation where I will voluntarily pick these books up. But because they're such like modern classics almost, I have such a hard time getting rid of them. I don't know what either of these are about. I think this one follows a soldier and a blind girl during the war, This one is just Kristen Hanna. I read The Women for the first time as like my first book from her. It was against my will. I was forced to for work. I didn't love it. I thought it was pretty lackluster, so that makes me even more nervous. But anytime I talk about my opinion on The Women, people are like, but you didn't read The Nightingale. And I'm like, okay, I'll freaking read The Nightingale eventually. This last book that I have on my most intimidating books is actually probably one that you could expect. Like I'm kind of ending on probably a pretty obvious choice, and that is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I'm nervous. I remember when a lot of people were reading it, and I searched, and I could not find a hardcover copy, and I finally did. And there was something about this book that really called out to me that I wanted to collect a hardcover of it. I think this book is pretty controversial because a lot of people have referred to it as like torture porn or like crying porn, where it's not so much like what happens, I don't think is like problematic, but choosing to read it only to feel pain is like, that's all you're going to do to yourself. So a lot of people like haven't loved that aspect of it. I got to be honest, I love to cry. I love when books make me cry. I am a crier when I'm happy, when I'm angry, when I'm sad. It just is that like that emotional release is very cathartic for me. So there's something about that that makes me really think, I don't know, if it's going to tug on my heart, I think it could go well. That being said, I don't know much about the plot other than that it follows like 4 boys, I think, who moved to New York City to fulfill their dreams. I started reading this quite a few years ago, and I got only like 20 pages in, and then I realized I was like, this is not the time for that, so I put it down, but I still remember those pages very, very well. I just feel like I could unexpectedly be the target audience for this book, and I want to give it a shot still. That's why it's still living on my shelves. I love this beautiful hardcover, and someone's going to tell me not to read this, and I'm going to say I think I'm still going to try it because I like to cry. With that though, I know this was a quick little video, but that's just because I don't know how to tell you much about these books other than I'm afraid of them. So the reason this one's scary to me is because it's huge and my expectations are way too high. So I'm trying not to pick it up until my expectations are lowered. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Please let me know down below what books are the most intimidating on your TBR list. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more from me. And I should see you on Tuesday with a vlog that I actually think is about me crying. So what a good choice to end this one on. And then we can cry together on Tuesday. Bye.